Why do we eat? Well, I love food, and you probably do too, so let's just skip all the philosophical existentialist questions and move on to the food, shall we? Cue the food!
So this week started off on a Sunday because, well, the days of the week are just a social construct, right? Yeah. And then I basically just had a ton of fruit before and during our little drive slash grocery run thing. Then when we got back, we had a proper breakfast of some takeaway poha. Okay, wait, takeaway sounds strange. Basically, just poha that we picked up from some food place. Right, and then for lunch, we wanted something quick and easy, so I toasted up some bread and put on some spinach sauce, basically just steamed spinach and a bunch of other stuff, and then some roasted tomato, some roasted pumpkin that I probably should have mashed up a little bit because it kept falling apart, followed by some sauteed mushroom with some spring onions, and some roasted spring onions, that is. And then I just topped it off with some sliced cucumber because sliced cucumbers are great, I guess. And also some sliced olives. Basically just a sandwich of a bunch of different elements and, just the good stuff. Right, and then I also had some more roasted pumpkin on the side with some more of that spinach sauce, some more cucumber slices and some more olive slices. And yeah, this was just a really good and simple meal, and it's been so long since I've had bread, and I'll chat more about bread later on. And then in the evening I had some stone fruit, basically mango and peaches, and I think that's the best part about summer. It kind of makes all the sweat worth it. And I basically have a ton of fruit, so yeah. Right, dinner was very simple, just a bowl of dal and rice and some pumpkin seeds and of course some beetroot on the side. And then that brings us to Monday. Monday morning started off with, you guessed it, an oats and chia porridge. Right, and then I topped it all off with a bunch of interesting stuff like some roasted carrot that was roasted until it was nice and caramelly, and some pumpkin seeds and raisins, and also this cookie that I happened to find, and I was so happy to find, and I was just so surprised to find. I expected it to be finished, and I have no clue why the cookie was still there, but I was happy about it, so I just topped that off on my bowl, and just the good stuff. And also, did I mention that I topped off some coconut powder? Right, I also topped it off with some coconut powder. So, yep, that was my breakfast. And then for lunch, I roasted up some sweet potato and also that carrot that I had roasted in advance. I mean, I roasted all of this early morning, so, I used that carrot for my breakfast. Right, and this is how the sweet potato looked after it was nice and roasty. And then I prepared this yogurt dip sauce slash thing. So, I used some coconut yogurt and I added in a bunch of masalas. Basically just some chaat masala, black salt, some chili powder, and I mixed that all up. And since the yogurt was sweetened, that also, gave it some sweetness. And this yogurt's not really very sour, so I had to add in a little bit of lime juice, which you'll see me do later. And then I added in my, I took some of that roasted sweet potato into my bowl and I cut it up into rough chunks before I added on the rest of my ingredients, which were some cucumber, sliced cucumber, that is, some lentil, some split green moong dal, which is also known as green lentils, I believe. You could totally use whole green moong dal instead, but split green moong dal also works fine. And this is basically like a salad slash chaat type thing. I prefer to call it chaat, but you could loosely define it as a salad. So I also topped it off with some mint and coriander chutney, some chopped onion, some chopped raw mango, that yogurt dip, the yogurt sauce dip slash thing. And then I topped it off with some pomegranate seeds for, a little extra sweetness, and some peanuts because you can't go wrong with peanuts on stuff. And also some lime veg. I mean, one lime veggie or lime wedge that I basically squeezed over my bowl because, as I mentioned before, the yogurt wasn't sour enough. And this was just such a colorful, wholesome meal, and it's easily one of my favorites. I'm still dreaming about it. And I definitely added in a lot more chutney and dal than depicted here. That would be far too dry without all of that. And after this wholesome lunch, I was just feeling so great and so happy, and just cooking makes me so happy. Right, and for dinner, FYI, I've been using this pav that is awesome, and it's gluten-free, which I can't believe, and it's made out of jowar, which again I cannot believe because jowar is one of my favorite flours. Right, and then I basically made a sandwich from that, and some green chutney, some cucumber, some sliced almonds randomly, some dal, some lettuce, and also right in the background, what you see is some duri soup or buttergood soup. Random, I know, but it was kind of rainy, so I guess soup matched the vibe. And this was a nice sandwich. It's been so long since I've had a decent chutney sandwich, so this was heaven. Right, and I also had some beetroot on the side, of course. That brings us to Monday morning when wait, is it Tuesday morning? Okay, it's Tuesday morning. Right, Tuesday morning. I started on some baked oats because, you know, that's a great breakfast. Right, so some rolled oats, some mashed up bananas, some chia seeds mixed with some water, you know, soaked up in some water. And then I added on some, I just can't speak today, can I? Anyways, this is like the 5th time that I'm re-recording this? No clue. I lost. But this was such a good breakfast. Just peaches and cream and black raisins, and it kind of had that, you know, that peaches and cream and blueberry vibes. I absolutely love this. It did need a little bit more yogurt though, since all the yogurt got soaked up kinda. But overall, amazing stuff. Right, moving on to lunch, which was some fancy dal. So I had some garlic frying up in some masalas, and then I added in some carrot crescent moons, and some roasted onion, and then followed by some split yellow moong dal and some spinach. Some chopped spinach, that is, and of course some chopped coriander because I'm Indian. This was such a good creamy bowl of dal. It was just perfection, like the most perfect dal I've ever had. And I topped it off with these I don't know what to call them, savory cookies, bhatis, I don't know. They were basically inspired by this dish was inspired by dal bhati, but it's in no way anything traditional. But yeah, these cookies were really good, like, you know, crisp on the outside and soft on the inside, and it was just such a comforting, wholesome meal. And I topped it off with some coconut yogurt, you know, just like that. And this was my dinner, which was basically the same thing with some duri soup on the side, some beetroot on the side, and also some quinoa puffs on top, because puffed quinoa on top. And of course, I added on some lime juice because beetroot and lime juice, just living the life, people. And wait, is it Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. Wednesday morning was chaotic. The video basically goes downhill from this point on. I started off with making some porridge, millet porridge, that is, and I basically added in too much water while cooking it, as I often do. So I added in a teaspoon of chia seeds, just, you know, to let that soak up and thicken up. And while that was, thickening up for about 10 minutes, I mashed up a banana. Then I proceeded to add in my porridge. And despite everything, this was so good. Just the bananas were just perfectly sweet because they were so ripe. And then I also added in some sliced almonds, that is some soaked and then peeled and then sliced almonds. Don't ask me why. And then I topped it off with some coconut powder because I have this thing where I add in coconut powder instead of just adding in regular coconut milk like a normal person. So that's what I do with my porridges, and I like it. Okay. And then I added on some pumpkin seeds, some black raisins, and some sliced bananas. The usual combo. This was again a really good porridge. I mean, what can I say? It was porridge basically. And I also topped it off with some cardamom powder because you can't go wrong with cardamom powder. And that's just my favorite spice, I think. I think cardamom is my favorite spice. Yeah, it is. And then for lunch, I roasted up some bell pepper and some carrot and some onion and some garlic, and I blended that up into a sauce that you'll see later. And then I roasted up some cauliflower and some purple cabbage, and then I put that roasted cauliflower along with some spring onion on the gas, along with that paste that I mentioned before, if you followed anything that I'm saying at this point. Oh, and also there was some roasted spring onions in the mix because roasted spring onions are just the best thing in the world. Basically, the onion bulb. And then I also added in like a tablespoon or two of peanut butter, and I forgot to shoot the mixing part, but these were the end results. And this is some dal and rice basically, and then on the side I had some lettuce, and finally this beautiful gorgeousness. This is honestly one of my best cooking results ever, one of my best cooking inventions or discoveries or whatever this thing was, but it was freaking awesome. Okay, I've never tasted something so good. The sauce was amazing, and wow, it just tasted so good, paired so well with that cauliflower, and I'm still dreaming about it. I'm still dreaming about all those meals that I made in the beginning of the week. They were so good. Right, and dinner was basically just the same thing. Some rice and dal, zucchini, basically that. And yep, that brings us to the next morning, which is, I believe, Thursday or Friday. I'm really not even sure at this point. I should have labeled this, shouldn't I? Anyways, I started off with some jeera porridge, which looks like that when it's not cooked, and then I obviously cooked it in a pressure cooker, followed by added in a bunch of stuff, coconut milk, sugar, that kind of stuff. And then I topped it off with a bunch of other stuff because I accidentally added in too much of raw sugar, so it was too sweet. So I had to, cancel out the sweetness with a bunch of grated carrot and cacao nibs and pumpkin seeds. And oh god, this was so good. And I also added in a pinch of salt, which is super important. Like that just made everything so good. Right, and here you see me prepare lunch. Very stupidly, that is. So this that I was showing you some time ago was is basically a paste of some secret veggies that I'm not going to reveal because they're top secret. I'm not going to reveal them yet because I'm going to be sharing the recipe for this mac and cheese, like the proper recipe sometime soon, because this one was clearly not proper. Basically, I added in too much coconut milk, and then I proceeded to add in all of the pasta like a confident fool, and then I realized that, oh wait, that's way too much sauce for that much pasta, and by then the pasta had already gotten hot, and it just became a very overcooked mess. And then I had to cook down that sauce, and it just, okay, the sauce itself was really good. Like when I tasted it at this point, wow, it was amazing. But the pasta got completely overcooked. So, and it's always like when I'm trying to prepare a particular pasta, I just not have the correct pasta on hand. Like, no, I wanted to prepare mac and cheese, but I had fusilli. But it's not like that matters anyway because everything disintegrated. But this was still so good because that sauce was on point. And I also had that with some red bell pepper and some French beans and some zucchini on the side. Yep, and this was my dinner, which was some leftover mac and cheese with some cucumber. And now I get why mac and cheese is such a comfort food, because that has been a long day, okay, people. And wow, just leftover mac and cheese is the best thing to have for dinner. And yeah, now I understand what the hype behind mac and cheese is. I was never a big mac and cheese fan before, but now right, so okay, I believe this is Friday. Right, this is Friday. So Friday morning started off with some savory porridge for a change, and some savory oats, that is. And to my pot, I first cooked up some oats so that like it was already cooked basically. So that it got overcooked with everything else and just turned into this really creamy goodness. And yeah, it basically, just became super thick and creamy because I overcooked it so much. Right. And to that overcooked porridge, to that overcooked oats, I added in some French beans, some basil, some salt, some coriander seed powder, and also some sof or fennel seeds, which is my secret ingredient, because I know a lot of people would probably cringe at the idea of adding sof to food, but trust me, it works wonders. And here you see me top it off with a bunch of stuff because fancy, and also some chili flakes. And honestly, this was so good. I love the green olives, and I absolutely am obsessed with roasted onion. Roasted onion is just the best thing in the world, okay, people. And also pumpkin seeds, as you can see. And this was absolutely heavenly, okay. Right. Basically, this tasted amazing, and it smelled even more amazing. To me, it smelled like walking into a pizza shop. My mom said it smelled like sausage. So I don't know, it just smelled really, really good. And then I got to baking, doing some baking, that is. Remember those savory cookies from earlier? Yep, I'm making them again because we love them that much. And yep, so I'm not really sure actually if they are savory cookies, or I don't really know what to call them, but I'm just referring to them as savory cookies as of now. And yeah, so we've got some peanut butter, we've got some flax seed powder, and the measurements for everything in this recipe, for this, will be in the description down below. If you want the recipe, if you want the measurements for any of the other recipes shown below, then feel free to leave it down below. I will totally feel free to ask in the comments below, and I will totally give you guys the recipes with the measurements and stuff. Right, and I mixed in a bunch of ingredients, and also because I'm a weird baker, I staggered my water because that's just something that I do for easier mixing purposes, but I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do that. I don't know why I do that, but I do that. And then I mixed it all up until it formed the consistency or texture that I liked, which was basically just a moldable texture. As I mentioned before, the measurements for the water and how much you're actually supposed to add, which you can totally do in the beginning, will be in the description. And then I baked these guys for at 180 for about, I'll leave it on the screen, I don't even remember at this point. And then I baked that, and they're really good, okay? They're crispy on the outside and just soft and crumbly on the outside, like chewy and crumbly on the outside. Crumbly on the inside and crispy on the outside, right? And I had that with some dal with some kokum, that is, and also topped off with some salad that was basically raw mango and carrot and raisin, and also some cucumber, but I do not recommend grating cucumber, but everything else was grated. And right, the dal also had some French beans in there. So yep, this was just a good, simple, wholesome meal. Hearty. And for dinner, this is basically some ashgood soup, which I had with everything from lunch basically, and also some beetroot on this side. And ashgood is basically like bottle gourd, except shorter and stouter and grayer. And yep, it tastes pretty much the same in my opinion. And then the next morning, that is Saturday morning, I started off with making some moong chillas, I believe that's how it's pronounced. I keep getting confused whether it's chillas or chilkas or what, but it's basically a type of moong dosa type thing. So yeah, I blended up some split green moong dal that had been soaking overnight with some curry leaves and some salt, and then I put it on the gas. I poured it. I can't speak, but I basically put that onto a pan that had to be super hot when you're putting it, because it should like not super hot that it gets burnt and touched, but hot like it starts to splutter as soon as you put it on, and this bubbles should form on the surface when you put them on, and which is why I checked whether it was hot and then heated up, like increase the gas. Right, and then I added on some spring onion that I realized I should have probably just mixed into the batter directly. And then I covered that and opened that, and I kind of forgot about it, so it browned up nicely. And then I flipped them with my excellent pancake flipping skills.
Can't stop the neon colors now. It's a trend.
And the last one was so cute. It's kind of like a pancake, like kind of like those. Have you seen those? I've seen that, but have you seen those pancake cereal type thing, pancake cereal recipes? Because I've been wondering about that, and that's what that one reminded me of. Right, and then for this last one, I added in some extra water, and also just added the spring onions to the batter itself. And this one ended up being a lot tastier than the other ones, because this one was much more moist than the smaller ones. And yeah, it kind of tasted like an omelette, I guess. And then I topped it off with some yogurt sauce, basically just some unsweetened yogurt with some red chili powder and some salt. And this was so good, and I don't know how people get that aesthetic pancake cutting shot, because I definitely struggled. But overall, it tasted great. Though probably, as I mentioned before, add a good amount of water when you're doing your dosas. Right, and I mean not too much water, just make it thick, but watery enough. Right, and for lunch, you see some dal with some ashgood pieces in them, some brown rice, and also some spinach curry, which was so good. It was basically just spinach and cooked with some coconut milk, and it had some mushrooms in there. It was so good. Right, and for dinner, I basically had the same thing, except without the spinach, because that one got over because it was so good. And then I called it a night and a week with a cookie, because I can't believe I found a cookie. I was just so happy about it. Right. And thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. And this week has been a little tough, I guess. And the food just made it so much better. So thank you for being here, people. Thanks.